Alright, let's be honest with ourselves for a minute. You know that feeling, right? It was January 25th, maybe even earlier, and that shiny New Year's resolution, the one you were so hyped about? It's not just slowing down, it's gone. Poof, vanished. The gym treadmill is now a convenient place to hang clothes. Those meticulously prepped meal containers are still sealed in the fridge, looking vaguely suspicious, and the Duolingo owl has officially ghosted you, probably sending passive-aggressive notifications you're too ashamed to even open. It's a familiar story, one most of us have lived through probably more times than we'd care to admit. And yet, somewhere in your social media feed, there's that person. You know the one. They're still waking up at 4:45 a.m., taking cold showers, journaling. Their deepest thoughts running a side hustle that's somehow already profitable, and then to add insult to injury, they reposting about it all before you've even managed to find your other sock. You scroll past, a mix of admiration and exasperation bubbling up. What do they know that you don't? What secret sauce are they sipping every morning? More importantly, what tiny, almost imperceptible switch flips inside them just once that makes every subsequent decision, every daily challenge, stop feeling like an exhausting internal civil war raging inside your skull? You're not alone in asking these questions. We've all been there, standing at the crossroads of intention and execution, wondering why the gap feels so impossibly wide. But what if I told you it's not about some mythical superpower or a genetic lottery win? What if it's about a few straightforward, practical strategies that anyone can implement? Stick around, because in the next while, I'm going to hand you the blueprint, the 3 daily levers that, once engaged, make discipline once and for all unbreakable. This isn't about brute force or endless willpower. It's about smart, sustainable systems that transform your approach to self-control. Section 1. The quiet lie we keep telling ourselves. Let's cut through the noise and expose one of the biggest, most damaging myths we perpetuate about ourselves. That discipline is some kind of innate talent. We treat it like a fixed characteristic, something you either rolled the genetic dice and got, or you didn't. Think about it. How many times have you heard or said things like, "Oh, I'm just not a morning person," or "I'm just not disciplined"? We utter these phrases with the same conviction as stating our height or eye color, as if they're immutable facts of our existence. I'm 5'9", you say. I'm not a morning person, you declare. Both, in our minds, are equally fixed, equally unchangeable. But here's the kicker, and the research is annoyingly, unequivocally clear. This is a quiet lie, a convenient narrative we tell ourselves to avoid the discomfort of change. Every repeatable study on self-control, from Walter Mischel's famous marshmallow experiments with children to the rigorous, high-stakes attrition data from military basic training, screams the same truth. Discipline is a trainable skill, not a chromosome. It's not etched into your DNA. It's a muscle that strengthens with consistent exercise and atrophies with neglect. The real problem isn't your hardware, your genetic makeup, or some inherent flaw in your character. It's the operating system you're installing each morning, the one dictating your daily routines and responses. You're essentially trying to run a sophisticated program like Photoshop on a clunky 2004 flip phone, and then, completely understandably, you're blaming the phone for its poor performance. You're expecting high-level output from an outdated, inefficient system. It's not the phone's fault for not being a smartphone. It's our fault for not upgrading the system. This isn't just a metaphor. It's rooted in neuroscience. Our brains are incredibly adaptable. This phenomenon, known as neuroplasticity, means your brain can literally rewire itself, forming new neural pathways based on repeated thoughts and actions. When you consistently choose the path of least resistance, your brain gets really good at it, reinforcing those neural pathways. But when you consciously choose a disciplined action, even a tiny one, you start building new, stronger pathways. Each time you resist an impulse, each time you follow through on a commitment, you're not just performing an action. You're literally shaping your brain, making it easier to be disciplined next time. So let's discard that old, limiting belief right now. You don't need a discipline gene. What you need is to understand that discipline is a learned behavior, a skill you can cultivate, refine, and master, just like playing an instrument or learning a new language. Change the operating system, change the outcome. Embrace the fact that you are not stuck with your current level of discipline. You have the power to build it, brick by consistent brick. Section 2 WHY motivation is a terrible roommate. Motivation. It feels so good, doesn't it? That surge of energy, that burst of enthusiasm, the feeling that you can conquer the world. Motivation feels heroic, like a cape-wearing superhero swooping in to save the day. But let's be brutally honest. Motivation is also a terrible roommate. It leaves dirty dishes in the sink, promises to pay rent, then disappears for 3 days without warning, leaving you to pick up the pieces. It's fleeting, fickle, and utterly unreliable. You can't build a sustainable life on its whims. Discipline, on the other hand? Discipline pays rent on time, every single month. It shows up even when it doesn't feel like it. It's the quiet, consistent force that keeps things moving forward, regardless of your mood or the weather outside. So instead of constantly asking yourself, how do I stay motivated? It's a question that invariably leads to frustration and burnout. The smarter, far more empowering question is, how do I build a system that keeps working when motivation inevitably files for divorce? Because it will file for divorce. Your motivation will pack its bags, leave a cryptic note, and vanish when you need it most. The answer, thankfully, isn't some complex, esoteric philosophy. It lives inside 3 tiny daily habits that, when stacked together, compound faster than your Spotify Wrapped minutes at the end of the year. These aren't grand gestures. They're subtle shifts, almost imperceptible at first, but with cumulative power that will astound you. They are the practical levers that create an environment where discipline thrives, not as an uphill battle against your own nature, but as a natural, almost effortless progression. Let's not just talk about them. Let's run through them, because understanding is one thing, but implementing is where the real magic happens. Pillar 1. The 5-minute startup protocol. James Clear, in his brilliant work, popularized the 2-minute rule, a concept that has helped countless people overcome inertia. But we're going to shrink it even further, making it so ridiculously small that your brain can't possibly argue with it. This is about bypassing your inner procrastinator, that voice that tells you it's too hard, too much effort, or not worth starting. The core idea here is to pick the tiniest, most atomic action imaginable, an action so small it feels almost silly that proves to your brain, unequivocally, I'm the type of person who follows through. This isn't about achieving the entire goal. It's about initiating the process. If your habit is reading, the startup protocol isn't read a chapter or read for 30 minutes. It's open the book and read 1 sentence. That's it, 1 sentence. If your habit is running, it's not go for a mile run. It's put on 1 running shoe. Just 1. No exceptions, no extensions, no negotiating with yourself. Why does this seemingly trivial action hold so much power? Because once your identity receives that initial ping, that undeniable signal that says, I'm already someone who started Newton's, first law of motion suddenly flips in your favor. Remember it? An object at rest stays at rest, and an object in motion stays in motion with the same speed and in the same direction unless acted upon by an unbalanced force. You, by initiating that tiny action, just became the unbalanced force. You moved yourself from a state of rest to a state of motion. And once you're in motion, staying in motion becomes infinitely easier than trying to start from scratch. This small act isn't just about getting started. It's about making a psychological deposit into your follow-through bank account. It builds self-trust. You prove to yourself repeatedly that you are a person who does what they say they'll do, even if it's just reading 1 sentence or putting on 1 shoe. Do this daily for just 14 days, and something remarkable begins to happen. Your basal ganglia, the part of your brain responsible for habit formation, starts to rewire. It literally builds new neural pathways, creating an autopilot for this behavior. It moves from a conscious effort to an unconscious routine. And here is a fascinating indicator that the habit is truly sticking. If you miss a day, the next morning feels emotionally expensive. There's a slight pang of guilt, a sense of something being off. That discomfort isn't a sign of failure. It's a sign of success. It means your brain has integrated this behavior into its expected routine, and missing it creates a noticeable void. That feeling is your internal alarm, telling you the habit has become part of you. Embrace it. It's proof that the 5-minute startup protocol is working its magic. Pillar 2. Environmental guerrilla warfare. Your brain, in its most beautiful, evolutionarily efficient sense, is fundamentally lazy. It's wired to conserve energy, to find the path of least resistance, the lowest friction route to a reward. It wants things easy. So instead of fighting against this inherent wiring with sheer willpower, let's hack it. Let's engage in some environmental guerrilla warfare. The strategy is simple. Build a path so incredibly smooth, so devoid of obstacles, that it becomes harder to fail than it is to win. You want to make the desired action the default, the easiest option available. Conversely, you want to introduce just enough friction to make undesirable actions inconvenient, even annoying. Think about it. If you want to play guitar more, don't keep it tucked away in its case under the bed. That's too much friction. The act of pulling it out, unzipping the case, getting it ready, it's enough to derail your intention on a day when motivation is low. Instead, keep that guitar on a stand right next to the couch, within arm's reach. So easy to pick up, so hard to ignore. Want to eat healthier? Store your oats, your healthy snacks, your fruit at eye level in the pantry or fridge. Make them the first thing you see, the easiest thing to grab, and those Oreos or whatever your kryptonite snack might be. Don't just hide them. Hide them at your in-laws' house, or at least in a ridiculously inconvenient opaque container in the back of a high cupboard. Make them a quest, not an impulse. This principle extends to digital distractions, which are arguably the biggest saboteurs of modern discipline. Delete social media apps from your phone. Yes, all of them. And if you absolutely must check them, reinstall them only on a designated day. Say Saturday morning, using a 45-digit password you have to type while standing on one leg. Sounds extreme? Maybe, but is it more extreme than scrolling mindlessly until 2 a.m., then waking up feeling like a zombie, wondering why you can't make it to your 6 a.m. workout? The friction you introduce for distractions directly translates into increased willpower for your goals. Your environment isn't neutral. It's actively shaping your choices, either multiplying your willpower and making discipline easier or mugging it in the alley before you've even had your first cup of coffee. It's an invisible hand guiding your decisions. By consciously designing your surroundings, you become the architect of your own choices, setting yourself up for automatic success. This isn't about having more self-control. It's about needing less of it because your environment is doing the heavy lifting for you. Choose multiplication. Choose to make your desired actions the default, and your undesirable ones the exception that requires significant effort. Pillar 3, the 5-second reset counter. We've all been there. That moment when the urge to quit surfaces, strong and undeniable. Your lungs are burning on a run, Excel just crashed, taking hours of work with it, or your toddler is screaming at a decibel level usually reserved for jet engines. In that instant, your primal brain takes over, screaming, "Stop! Escape! Give up!" This is where Mel Robbins' brilliant 5-second rule comes into play, but we're going to add a crucial twist to supercharge its effectiveness. When that urge to quit, to procrastinate, to collapse hits you, immediately count backward from 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then, critically, you must physically move. Not metaphorically move, not just think about moving, but actually physically shift your body. Stand up, walk 3 steps, take a sip of water, roll your shoulders, stretch your arms, even just change your posture. The specific movement isn't as important as the act of doing something, anything that breaks your current physical state. Why is this physical movement so powerful? Because it acts as a pattern interrupt. When you're stuck in a loop of negative emotion or resistance, your limbic system, the emotional, reactive part of your brain, is having a tantrum. It's hijacking your rational thought processes. That micromotion combined with the countdown literally interrupts that limbic tantrum. It creates a tiny critical window of opportunity. This brief interruption allows your prefrontal cortex, the executive decision-making center of your brain, to regain control, to get back behind the steering wheel. Athletes have used pattern interrupts for ages to break negative thought cycles or overcome slumps. Neuroscientists call it cortical recovery, the brain's ability to reset and re-engage its higher-level functions. You, however, will simply call it the moment quitting stopped being an option. It's a powerful, almost magical technique that gives you back control in those critical moments of weakness or overwhelm. It's not about eliminating the urge to quit entirely. It's about having a reliable, instant strategy to override it and redirect your energy towards action. Practice this, and you'll find yourself pushing through discomfort and staying on track far more consistently than you ever thought possible. Section 3. The 48-hour accountability loop. Most accountability systems, despite their good intentions, eventually collapse under their own weight. Why? Because the feedback cycle is simply too long. Waiting a week for a check-in with an accountability partner or reviewing your progress at the end of the month is like trying to drive. A car by exclusively looking in the rearview mirror. By the time you realize you're off course, you've already veered far from your intended path, making corrections much harder and more demoralizing. We need a tighter feedback loop, something immediate and responsive. That's where the 48-hour accountability loop comes in. Here's how it works. At the end of your day, or the beginning of your next, write down your very next micro goal. Make it tiny, specific, and achievable within the next 48 hours. For example, complete the first paragraph of the report, or do 10 push-ups, or meditate for 5 minutes. Then, immediately set a 2-day reminder on your phone or calendar for that specific goal. When that alarm pings 48 hours later, you have one of 2 actions to take. 1. Celebrate. If you completed the goal, literally say nice out loud. Give yourself a quick positive affirmation. This small, immediate reward reinforces the behavior and makes your brain associate completion with pleasure. Share it with your accountability partner or group if you have one. 2. Recalibrate. If you didn't complete it, don't beat yourself up. Don't wallow in guilt. Simply acknowledge it. Adjust the goal if necessary. Maybe it was too big, or unforeseen circumstances arose, and set a new 48-hour micro goal and reminder. The key is to keep the loop going, always looking forward, always making the next small commitment. Why 48 hours? It's short enough to feel urgent, but long enough to allow for minor bumps in the road. It prevents those small slips from snowballing into full-blown derailments. This rapid feedback mechanism is crucial because tiny, public victories feed your developing identity faster and more powerfully than giant, private failures can erode it. Every nice reinforces the identity of someone who follows through. If you want to add an extra layer of social gravity, consider posting your outcome, whether a win or a recalibration, in a designated Reddit daily thread, a private Slack channel with a trusted friend, or a small accountability group. 2 simple rules for this. Keep it tiny and keep it truthful. Don't exaggerate. Just state the facts. The subtle pressure of knowing someone might see your progress, even if it's just one person, can be an incredibly powerful motivator. It harnesses our natural human desire for social approval and consistency. This isn't about shame. It's about leveraging a little external push to solidify internal commitment. Section 4. Stress-proofing your discipline. Muscle stress is the silent, insidious kryptonite of follow-through. When cortisol, the primary stress hormone, spikes in your system, something fascinating and deeply unhelpful happens in your brain. Blood flow literally leaves the prefrontal cortex, that sophisticated, decision-making center responsible for planning, impulse control, and rational thought, and heads straight to the more primitive, survival-oriented regions of your brain. The amygdala, the fight or flight response center. In essence, when you're stressed, your brain is less capable of making disciplined choices because it's preparing to run from a tiger, not to finish that budget report. The fix for this isn't a bubble bath, though those are nice. It's not about escaping stress entirely, which is often impossible in modern life. The fix is breath control. This isn't some new age fluff, it's a proven physiological hack. Navy SEALs, arguably some of the most disciplined individuals on the planet, don't just use breath control. They master it. Their go-to technique is often boxed breathing, or tactical breathing. Inhale for a count of 4. Hold for a count of 4. Exhale for a count of 4. And hold for a count of 4. Repeat this cycle a few times. Why is it so effective? Because it directly stimulates the vagus nerve, which activates your parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and digest system. This rapidly counteracts the sympathetic fight or flight response, bringing your heart rate down, lowering cortisol levels, and crucially, redirecting blood flow back to your prefrontal cortex. You can literally drop your cortisol levels in under 90 seconds. You can do this while your barista misspells your name for the 3rd time while your boss is breathing down your neck, or when that unexpected bill lands in your inbox. It's a portable, powerful tool for regaining mental clarity and emotional equilibrium. Now, to make this even more potent, pair the breathing with a specific verbal cue, a personal mantra you repeat only in moments of disciplined stress. This creates a psychological anchor. My personal cue, for instance, is next rep, a reminder to just focus on the immediate, small action required. Yours might be chapter done when staring at a daunting book, or taxes filed when facing a mountain of paperwork. The power of this cue lies in its exclusivity and repetition. When you say it and breathe through the stress, you're building a strong neural association between the cue, the calming breath, and the act of persevering. Say it, breathe it, do it. This isn't just about managing stress. It's about actively using stress as a trigger to engage your discipline, turning a potential derailment into a moment of intentional action. Section 5. The compound interest chart nobody shows. Let's talk about something incredibly boring, yet utterly transformative. Math. Specifically, the math of compound interest, but applied not to your bank account, but to your daily habits and discipline. This is the chart nobody shows you. The invisible force that either propels you to extraordinary heights or slowly, imperceptibly, erodes your potential. Here's the simple, brutal truth. Improving just 1% each day compounds to make you 37 times better in a year. Think about that, 37 times better. Conversely, declining just 1% daily, making slightly worse choices, skipping slightly more often, leaves you at a dismal 3% of where you started. That's not just a small dip. That's a catastrophic collapse over the course of a year. 1%. What does that even look like in practice? It's laughably small, almost insignificant on any given day. It's choosing water over soda just once. It's reading 2 extra pages in a book. It's walking 300 extra steps. It's spending 5 more minutes on a difficult task before switching to something easier. It's a tiny, almost imperceptible shift in direction, and that's precisely why most people dismiss it. It doesn't feel heroic. It doesn't provide instant gratification. It's not a dramatic overhaul. But here's the secret. It's laughably small until it isn't. That tiny, consistent effort, day in and day out, accumulates into a colossal advantage over time. Discipline isn't a finish line you cross. It's a compound interest account where you make daily deposits. Each small, consistent act of showing up, of following through, is a deposit. And just like a financial investment, the real magic happens not in the initial deposits, but in the exponential growth over time. The key is to deposit daily, then shut up about the balance. Don't obsess over immediate results. Don't expect dramatic changes overnight. Just make the deposit. Trust the process. Let time become your most powerful publicist, quietly working behind the scenes to amplify your efforts. The person who is 37 times better after a year didn't do anything revolutionary on any single day. They just consistently made 1% better choices, and the power of compounding did the rest. This is the true, understated power of unbreakable discipline. It's built on the consistent accumulation of tiny, almost invisible victories. Section 6. When identity trumps goals, goals are great. They give us direction, something to aim for. But here's a profound truth about goals. They have endpoints. You run a marathon, and when you cross the finish line, you're done. Goal achieved. What then? Often, there's a dip, a feeling of what now? This is where identity-based habits become infinitely more powerful and sustainable. Goals ask, what do I want to achieve? Identity asks, who do I want to become? Finish a marathon and you're done. Become a runner and you're never finished. Becoming a runner isn't about a single race. It's about adopting a lifestyle, a set of values, a consistent practice. It's about the person you embody. The ultimate hack for unbreakable discipline is to narrate your actions, both internally and externally, like a documentary narrator describing the character you are becoming. Instead of the often draining thought, "Ooh, I need to cook healthy food tonight," reframe it. Say, "I'm the kind of chef who finishes dinner before 7 p.m. with nutritious home-cooked meals." Notice the shift? It's not about obligation. It's about affirmation of who you already are, or who you are actively becoming. This is more than just positive self-talk. It's a deep psychological principle. Our language, both internal and external, subtly nudges our identity. And our identity, in turn, powerfully nudges our behavior. When you repeatedly tell yourself, "I am a disciplined person," or "I am a writer who writes every day," your brain starts to align your actions with that self-perception. It creates a powerful internal consistency. You don't force yourself to be disciplined. You act in alignment with the disciplined person you believe yourself to be. Within 6 weeks of consistently narrating your actions in this identity-focused way, you won't be forcing the habit anymore. It won't feel like a chore. Instead, you'll simply be reinforcing the character you already believe you are. The friction disappears because there's no internal conflict. The disciplined action isn't something you have to do. It's just what you do because that's who you are. This alignment of actions with purpose and identity is the bedrock of truly unbreakable discipline, making it feel less like effort and more like natural behavior. It's about living into your desired self, one intentional action at a time. Section 7. The One Habit Rule for Overwhelmed People. Trying to install 7 new habits at once is the adult equivalent of stuffing your cheeks with a dozen marshmallows. It might seem fun or impressive for about 5 seconds, but it quickly becomes catastrophic. You choke, you get overwhelmed, and you end up giving up on all of them. The human brain, particularly its limited willpower reserves, simply isn't designed to handle that much simultaneous change. For those of us who feel perennially overwhelmed, the secret to building discipline isn't about doing more. It's about doing less but doing it strategically. The One Habit Rule dictates that you pick the single most impactful behavior that, once established, makes every other desired behavior either easier to adopt or, even better, entirely unnecessary. This is often referred to as a keystone habit, a small change that cascades into other positive changes. For the vast majority of people, that keystone habit is sleep. Seriously, it sounds deceptively simple, but its impact is profound. Focus intensely on fixing your bedtime and wake time within a tight 30-minute window, 7 days a week, for 30 consecutive days. No exceptions. This means going to bed and waking up at roughly the same time, even on weekends. Why is sleep such a powerful keystone? Because a better rested brain is a better performing brain. Specifically, better sleep dramatically increases the glucose availability in your prefrontal cortex, the exact region of your brain that says, yes to the salad, no to the TikTok spiral, and I can do this to the challenging task. When you're sleep deprived, your prefrontal cortex is literally running on fumes, making you far more susceptible to impulses, procrastination, and poor decisions. You become a prisoner to your limbic system's whims. By nailing this one keystone habit, you're not just improving your sleep. You're effectively upgrading your brain's operating system. You're giving yourself a massive cognitive advantage. When you consistently get adequate, high-quality sleep, those dominoes of other desired habits, healthier eating, more consistent exercise, greater focus, better mood start to fall without any extra permission or Herculean effort on your part. They become easier because your brain is now properly fueled and equipped to make disciplined choices. Don't underestimate the power of consistently showing up for yourself in the most fundamental way. Nail one keystone. The rest will follow. Section 8. Failure Insurance. The Never Miss 2 policy. Let's get real for a moment. You will miss. Life happens. The flight gets delayed. The Wi-Fi dies mid-presentation. Grandma calls with an urgent, hour-long story about her neighbor's cat. Perfection is not the goal, nor is it sustainable. Expecting yourself to never miss a day is a recipe for catastrophic failure and self-flagellation. The true danger isn't missing once. It's missing twice. Missing twice, consecutively, is where the insidious erosion of your hard-won identity begins. That little voice in your head, the one that whispers doubts, starts to gain traction. See? You're not really a disciplined person. You always quit. 1 miss is a blip. 2 misses start to form a pattern. This is precisely why you need to institute the Never Miss 2 clause in your personal discipline contract. It's your ultimate failure insurance policy. If you skip Monday's workout, fine. Acknowledge it, learn from it, and move on. But Tuesday? Tuesday is non-negotiable. On Tuesday, you scale the habit down to a comically small, almost ridiculously easy version, but you still do it. Did you miss your reading goal on Monday? On Tuesday, read 1 paragraph. Just 1. Missed your workout? Do 2 push-ups, or simply put on your running shoes. Forgot to track your water intake. Drink half a glass of water, intentionally. The goal isn't to catch up or make up for lost time. It's to maintain the streak of I am a person who does this. It's about signaling to your brain and to your identity that you are back on track, that this habit is still a part of who you are, even in its most miniature form. 2 misses becomes the slippery slope that quickly turns into 2 weeks, then 2 months, and before you know it, the habit is completely abandoned, and you're back to square one, feeling defeated. Guard that never miss 2 rule like your Netflix password. like your most prized possession. It's the single most important rule for building resilience and ensuring that temporary setbacks don't devolve into permanent abandonment. It teaches you how to recover quickly, how to adapt, and how to maintain momentum even when life throws its inevitable curveballs. Section 9. Putting it together. A sample 7-day rhythm, okay? So we've unpacked the core principles and pillars. Now, how do you weave this into the fabric of your daily life? It's not about doing everything at once. It's about strategic implementation. Here's a sample 7-day rhythm, a way to gently introduce these concepts and start building that unbreakable discipline, one step at a time. This is a template, not a rigid mandate, so feel free to adapt it to your unique life and goals. **, Day 1. The tiny spark **, before you go to bed tonight, grab a sticky note. On it, write down tomorrow's 5-minute startup protocol for your chosen keystone habit. Make it ridiculously small. For example, tomorrow I will open my journal and write 1 sentence. Or, I will put on 1 running shoe. Place that sticky note directly on your phone screen or your coffee maker, somewhere you absolutely cannot miss it. This primes your environment and sets a clear, low-friction intention for the morning. Day 2. Declutter your choices. **, identify just one significant distraction in your environment and remove it entirely. This isn't about willpower. It's about environmental guerrilla warfare. Unplug the TV in your bedroom, delete 1 social media app from your phone. Just 1. Or hide those tempting cookies at a neighbor's house. Make it harder to do the thing you don't want to do. Observe how much mental energy this simple act frees up. **, Day 3. The instant reset. **, at the very first urge to procrastinate, to check out, to give up on a task, whether it's at work, in your personal goals, or even just household chores, immediately engage the 5-second reset counter. Count backward from 5, then physically move. Stand up, stretch, take a deep breath. And then, for an extra boost of accountability, post the result not just the intention, in a trusted group chat or to an accountability partner. Just did a 5-second reset to get back to work. Feeling clearer. Day 4. The short loop. Set your first 48-hour micro goal. Make it incredibly specific and achievable. Finish the introduction of that report. Or, complete 15 minutes of language learning. Schedule a reminder on your phone for exactly 48 hours later. This is your first accountability loop in action. Remember, celebrate the win or recalibrate without judgment. Day 5. Breath armor. **, when stress hits, whether it's a demanding email, a challenging conversation, or simply feeling overwhelmed by your to-do list, immediately practice boxed breathing. Inhale 4, hold 4, exhale 4, hold 4. Pair it with your chosen verbal cue. Afterward, take a moment to note in a journal or even just mentally acknowledge the cortisol drop, the shift in your state. This reinforces the power of the technique. **, Day 6. Identity language. **, today, narrate one action you take with identity-based language, out loud if you can. Instead of, I have to do the dishes, try, I'm the kind of person who keeps a tidy kitchen. Or, instead of, I should go for a walk, think I'm an active person who prioritizes movement. Notice how it feels to embody that identity. Day 7. Reflect and rebound. **, review your week. Don't judge, just observe. Circle any misses you had. For each miss, immediately apply the Never Miss 2 plan for the next cycle. Scale it down, commit to doing the tiniest version tomorrow. This isn't about dwelling on failure. It's about rapid recovery and building resilience. Rinse, iterate, learn, and then repeat. With each cycle, you'll feel the identity cement drying, solidifying the disciplined person you are becoming. This isn't a race, it's a marathon of small, consistent, intentional steps. Mid-roll CTA. If any of these pillars just smacked you in the forehead with uncomfortable accuracy, if you're nodding along thinking, yeah, that's me, then do the algorithm a massive favor. Hit that like button, seriously. It helps more perfectionists masquerading as procrastinators find this message. And trust me, there are a lot of us out there. And while you're at it, drop your single keystone habit in the comments below. What's that one habit that, if you nail it, makes everything else easier? Owning it publicly, even just in a comment section. Raises your follow-through by 33%, according to a study from Dominican University. I'll be in the replies cheering you on, offering a virtual high five, or if your excuse is particularly flimsy, politely roasting it. Your call. Section 1. The invisible cost of not acting today. Let's talk about the silent, insidious price tag attached to inaction. Every single day you don't install these systems. Every day you choose to let motivation dictate your choices instead of building sustainable discipline, you're paying a tax. And it's not just a monetary one. It's a tax on your potential, on your peace of mind, and ultimately, on your life. This tax manifests in myriad ways. Missed creative work that never sees the light of day, a slower metabolism due to inconsistent habits, a smaller contribution to your community or your craft, a duller, less vibrant life lived on autopilot. The price isn't just a flabbier body when you look in the mirror or a fatter credit card statement from impulse buys. It's the quiet, relentless erosion of self-trust. Think about that for a moment. Every time you tell yourself you'll do something and then you don't, you chip away at your belief in yourself. You teach your brain that your word, even to yourself, isn't reliable. And when self-trust walks out the door, every future project, whether it's starting a business, nurturing a relationship, pursuing an artistic passion, or simply sticking to a budget, starts behind the 8 ball. You're already fighting an internal battle before you even begin the external one. It's exhausting, demoralizing, and deeply limiting. Conversely, every microdeposit you make into your discipline account buys you something far more valuable than money: freedom. It buys you the freedom to speak your mind because you have the confidence to back it up. The freedom to travel on your own terms because you've managed your finances. The freedom to pursue ambitious projects because you trust yourself to follow through. It's the freedom to leave a dent in the universe, to make a meaningful contribution that outlives you, because you've cultivated the consistent effort required to bring your visions to life. The clock, that relentless ticker of moments, doesn't care about your mood. It doesn't care if you feel motivated or not. It only counts. It's indifferent to your excuses, your fears, your hopes. It simply keeps moving forward, measuring the time you have and the time you let slip away. The choice to act, to build these systems, to cultivate this unbreakable discipline, isn't just about achieving goals. It's about reclaiming agency, building an unshakable foundation of self-trust, and ultimately, unlocking the most expansive, fulfilling version of your life. The cost of inaction isn't just today's missed opportunity. It's tomorrow's diminished potential. Conclusion: the one-sentence summary. So, after all this, if you take one thing away, let it be this. Discipline becomes truly unbreakable when you shrink the first step until it's impossible to resist. You rig your environment so that success is the default, and you learn to reset faster than your excuses can even finish their sentence. Closing CTA. Don't wait for motivation. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Start right now. Pick one tiny thing and engage today's 5-minute protocol, and then post it below in the comments. I've pinned mind reading one page before opening email for the next 30 days. Join me. Let's make the algorithm the accountability buddy none of us knew we needed. And hey, if you found this valuable, consider subscribing for next week's deep dive on turning distraction into rocket fuel. Until then, remember this crucial truth: you don't need more willpower, you need a smaller door. Walk through it.